Weatherproof your business is actually about arming your business with the skills and getting in front of the decisions that you need to make to weather any storm, to handle any change and any risk that the world can throw at you. And the way we want to do that is to keep it really simple. So the Weatherproof Your Business program is different from a lot of other risk management programs. It doesn't delve deep into every one of the personal issues that your business might face, but it provides you with that first point of call, essentially first aid for your business when a crisis hits. Now, a crisis, as Bev introduced, is not just something that physically affects your business. A crisis is any event which has the potential to harm the perceptions of your business or the actual business. We work with businesses right throughout the flood and cyclone seasons in Queensland over the last 5 years, and we found that many businesses were not physically affected, and yet their businesses have struggled to get the turnover and the cash back in the bank that they need because of the value and challenges of perception. So we want to talk about all of those issues today. How to physically get your business back up and running again, and how to challenge and tackle those perceptions. If your business hasn't been through a major risk or crisis in the last 4 or 5 years, then I wouldn't like to say to expect one, but all businesses go through them. So what we want you to do is to be prepared for that event to occur. I won't harbour on the wettest year on record that we had last year, but with 5 months of high rainfall, Queensland was not seen as open for business. We had reached a point at which many of our customers were grappling with the idea of would they take a Queensland holiday, only to be consumed by one of the largest cyclones on record to hit a populated area, Cyclone Yasi. Physically, we weathered the storm very well because we have great building codes, we have great partners in insurance, and we have great agencies who want to step into the breach and fill that space with really good information. But the challenge is real. Some of the challenges are not so big. Some of them could be as small as a potential handbag swimming in your swimming pool. There are all sorts of challenges and risks that face your business. How you respond to them and how you deal with your customers there on the day and with the media, if you get an opportunity to do so, is what today is all about. Putting your best foot forward in a crisis situation. Now, for those of you who have their computers, the business continuity template you'll see is not a very long document. We hope that it's going to become your Bible of templates. For those of you that are working in hard copy, this is the form that we're going to be using today. So if you wouldn't mind putting your name and the business name on the front and popping your signature on the front, that is for me your commitment to do 2 things. 1, to see this program all the way through. Today, in the 4 hours we have together, we'll cover off on an enormous amount of things. But there will be things you'll need to do back in your own business. So I ask you to 1, commit to completing the templates when you get back to your business, and that should only take you a few hours at most. But secondly, and as Lynn said, importantly, you need to take from today the skill, willingness and ability to teach others the things that you learn here today. We did some work for the Asia Pacific Economic Forum in 2008, and we found that 80% of businesses who faced a major crisis or event, something really significant, simply did not last 2 years. Any guess on what the major contributing factor to not surviving 2 years? Bev? What do you think might have been the major contributing factor to businesses not making it 2 years after a crisis? Faith in the business? Yeah. Perceptions of the business? Alan, what do you think? What are some of the things that might contribute to a business not being able to get back up to speed? Cash flow. Yeah. So there's a couple of really important points in there. Perception, cash flow, and ability to get back to business as quickly as possible. The faster you can get back to business, not only do you start putting money back in the bank account again, but you tackle the other 2 issues, cash flow, and you start to challenge the perceptions. We're back up and going, we're confident, and we know that we're moving forward. And that's exactly what it comes down to. We call it a roadmap to recovery. This is the resources that your business expends during a crisis, and this is the amount of time. Unsurprisingly, if the resources you invest and the time extends with that maximum amount of resources, you'll drain your cash flows very quickly. Very few businesses have an enormous amount of cash sitting in the bank waiting for a moment like this. So today I want you to start working through the scenarios of what if one of these significant effects came upon my business, whether it be weather related or insurance related, and I'm glad that we have Jason here. We can talk a bit about some of those effects because a lot of that is perception as well as reality. If those things happen, today is about doing the thinking before and not on the day. We want to reduce that stress and the time that it takes for you to respond to the event, to know just what you want to do and start that process immediately. As I said, the fundamental factor is if we can shorten the time it takes for your business to start earning again and getting back on track, then your likelihood of succeeding and surviving the crisis is exponentially higher. It's not a matter of if but when. So let's prepare ourselves for when. And what I want you to start doing now as I'm introducing you to how we're going to run today, and you're multitasking as all good business people do, I want you to start thinking about the most significant event in terms of the time it might take you to recover and the resources that you may need to recover that your business could likely face. And we do that on two really simple things: how likely it is and how significant it is. So start thinking through now the sort of events that might affect your business. And I'll show you a little template we can use to work through that. A little story to start the game off. Miramar Cruises runs a little boat up to Lone Pine, has done for 30 plus years, and is an icon of tourism in Brisbane. It's a small business, 10 people, and it relies on a very seasonal flow of visitors through summer and the school holidays, and it runs on a very limited cash flow. Debbie Garbutt, the marketing manager, came along to a session just like this one, in fact about the same number of people, and asked herself the question, I think I have a good idea on if I lose my boat, how long it would take me to get a new boat and how much it would cost me to get over that hurdle. But one of the other fundamental things I need in a marine business is to be able to get my passengers onto the boat. And she'd never really thought about that. And I want you today to start thinking about some of those likely and significant impacts on your business. Now, I'm not Nostradamus. I didn't predict that on the 11th of January, the pontoon by which they tie up to would be completely swept away by the largest floods Brisbane has seen since 1974. But that's what happened. Now, through the process, Debbie was able to identify just a couple of simple steps that she and her business partners could go through just to firm up their business if that was to be the reality. And you know what it was. What did they do? They identified another berth that they could use. They spoke to MSQ, the Maritime Safety Queensland, to identify what barriers there might be to tying up at another berth. And they made contact with the other berth operator to say, what would you need from us in terms of lead time? Do I have the right depth? Can I get a turning circle? Where are my customers going to go? Really, it was a few half-hour conversations. Thankfully, that happened in November. MSQ actually had a workshop about it in December because they were unsure what the situation would be, and they went through their own crisis management response exercise, and what they found was, yes, that could be done. So on the 11th of January, Debbie started making her first phone calls to the two people she'd already reached out to, the guy in MSQ and the lady from the wharf in the Breakfast Creek. Both of them said, look, we're happy to work with you, we understand your situation. That simple couple of half-hour phone calls reduced the amount of time from about 10 weeks they thought it would take to getting back into operation in 6 weeks. Actually, in 4 weeks, they took their first booking to take people back onto the river once all of the safety requirements of MSQ were met. And that simple exercise of shortening the amount of time meant that they didn't lose one of their major clients, a young lady who had 2 years in advance booked to have her wedding on the boat. Now, that simple fact made a huge difference in a lot of people's lives, and from Miramar Cruises' perspective, it's one of the few things they put down to their business still being here today. Just that little bit of preparation. You know, my grandmother said it, and yours probably did too, a stitch in time saves 9. And that stitch in time is what we're here for today. So start thinking today about the things that could unhook your business from your cash flow and from those positive perceptions your business needs, and let's start working out the solutions to get you back into business as quickly.